We don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real put alive from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Welcome back, everybody. Good evening. We are without the legendary Larry Bluestein tonight, as he's off doing some 560 WQAM work. So, but look, you still get our beautiful mugs. So, what are you complaining about? Right?
How could you? Yeah, this is the. What else? What else do you want to do with your Monday night than stare at us?
I mean, it's rainy outside. It's at least down here for any of the South Florida people. By the way, before I get into my read, prayers and. I mean, it's going to be rough, man. So prayers to everybody over in Southwest Florida up until Central Florida. Even on the East Coast, us down here, down here in Miami, we're going to get lucky again for the most part. But anything from West Palm up, again, man, stay safe out there. Make sure listen, if you are in an evacuation zone, get the hell out. All right, don't try to play hero ball like the Hurricanes tried to do this past weekend. All right, get out of there. That was actually a pretty good one, right? That wasn't
bad. That wasn't bad, man. That wasn't bad.
That's one of my best ones that I've had in a while. So no, but seriously, get the hell out of there. Come down. If you guys need a place, I got an extra bedroom here. Just get out of Central Florida, Southwest Florida if you can, if you're in an evacuation zone. If not, hunker down, put your shutters up, whatever you got to do. Make sure y'all stay safe out there. Don't do anything crazy. Let's get through. This is a big one. This is a monster. So, hopefully everybody stays safe and stays out of the way of that storm surge, the flooding, the wind, everything. As we all know down here, we know all too well, man. Hurricanes are not something to mess around with. So, make sure you guys stay safe up there, and prayers up for everybody in the state of Florida, period. So Vish did the right thing, and he left Florida. He went straight to California, and then now he said he got here this afternoon and he got the hell straight out again.
Well, I am doing work for the network up here is what I'm doing in Charlotte. So covering the ACC tip off for buckets. So
pretty
definitely
cool.
Subscribe to the audio podcast.
He's still in the airport for everybody to know. This kid, this dude does not mess around. So Danny's the one that's got it easy. He's like nice and cool fall weather up there in the Northeast. Must be nice.
Not bad.
Must be nice.
It's not bad. And Vish, was that soda in that cup that you're drinking out of?
That's soda.
All right, I'm just making sure. I was gonna say.
Oh no, I am not. It is not the.
Look at my libations if we're going that route. I have no problem doing that. But
it's a Monday.
Listen. Would you doubt? Would you? Would you be mad at him if he was drinking a libation?
No, it's not. This is not buckets after dark. No.
Oh man! Before we get to it, let's go ahead and thank our sponsor, You Break Will Fix. Have you ever run over a pothole so hard your steering wheel shakes? Constantly losing air in your tires that you need to keep adding air? Chances are there's an issue with your wheels, and U Brake Wheel Fix is your solution. U Brake Wheel Fix is Miami's premier wheel repair and restoration company with over 20 years of experience and located in North Miami. U Brake Wheel Fix offers quick repairs for damaged wheels and in most cases can offer free loaner wheels to keep you on the road while they repair your damaged wheels. If your wheels are looking weathered and it's time to freshen your car up, don't replace, refinish. Their in-house wheel refinishing solutions, such as powder coating, machining, and polishing, will give your car the light new look it deserves. So contact Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or on all social media outlets at U Brake Wheel Fix. That's the letter U, Brake Wheel Fix, and mention 5 reasons and get 5.5% off your next repair. U Brake Wheel Fix is located at 1848 Northeast 143rd Street in North Miami. Phone number is 305-748-0112. U Brake Wheel Fix powder coating and wheel repair. 305-748-0112. Hit them up. All right. Look at Pimp Down. Hold on. St. Cloud here. I'll go stand outside and take a lawn chair to the face after Sunday night. Andrew Survivor. Yeah, we're all Andrew Survivor. Well, yeah, I know me and Vish are Andrew Survivor. Vish, you were here in 90. No, you weren't here yet. Oh,
I missed the big one. I was 94, so I missed Andrew.
Oh,
I wasn't born yet, so yeah, I have no say in this.
Yeah, you're not a Miami guy, anyways, DJ.
No.
So
Nope.
no, but hey man, don't do anything stupid over there, pinned down. Okay, stay inside, hunker down, and prayers always up to you and your family and everybody else in Central Florida that listens. Polk Kane is another one. I see him all the time at the Canes games now, and I know he's up in Polk County, which is probably in the way of this big ass storm as well. So everybody else,
we saw Polk before. I think it was it Virginia Tech before Helene came in. And like his family was prepping for that. So yeah, this is hitting a lot of the same area.
It really is. And Lex from the Miami Flow Show is up in Central Florida as well. I believe he's in Bradenton, if I'm not mistaken. So that part is going to get hit really hard as well. So Lex and everybody else, again, man, stay safe. He might be coming down. We know how Lex is. He kind of lives here half the time anyway. So, but at any rate,
that's like anyway.
Yeah, you do. you know. Yeah, a friend of mine, Izzy, I was just talking to him right now via text, lives in the Tampa St. Pete area, and he's hunkered down. He's not going anywhere either. So again, man, good luck to everybody. So
it's not the wind, it's the water.
It is. I mean, although it's 175 mile an hour winds right now.
But so, it's not supposed to be that.
Let's hope not.
So the building codes can handle what will come ashore from a wind standpoint, but there's nothing that's going to stop the water.
Yeah,
that's why you end up with people on roofs, people in their attics, people like needing to be rescued.
Most people are not going to get 175 mile an hour winds, obviously, right? That's kind of in the eye, in the center of the storm. Nothing holds up to 175, but you're not mostly going to get that. Either way, just make sure that you guys, stay out of it, man. I don't know how vicious a wig is.
Yeah, we were on a flight together, a red eye I guess technically last night into this morning, and landed at Miami at like 9 a.m. together. So yes,
that's wild, man. Well, you're awake too. What are you talking about?
She went home to sleep. I went home and swapped all my clothing out because I'm going to be professional at this event. So no Miami gear, so swapped everything, and this is my last Miami shirt for the week.
Oh boy.
And by the way, guess. I mean, needs no introduction. Not a guest, co-host.
Shoot, I'm getting.
I didn't think you're gonna make it, Blue. I think you're gonna make it, Blue.
My frequency was it's been crazy. So we'll see what happens. But I'm here. I saw your message, and then I figured you said 9 o'clock, so I was looking at 9, and then all of a sudden I looked over, and there you were.
Well,
so back from California.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm in Charlotte now, so I've been.
Oh, okay.
But back from California. I spent a good 4 or 5 hours in Miami today. It was nice.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, you beat to beat the bad weather coming here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has not stopped raining all day here. It's crazy, man.
I was sure my flight was going to get delayed. It didn't until I hit the tarmac here, and then they sat there.
Nice.
Unbelievable, man. Real quick, obviously, Blue, we didn't have you on the show yesterday, so wanted to, we'll start off with you because obviously, big game. Probably one of the craziest games we've seen in Miami Hurricanes history. A lot of things happened. A lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of character building, a lot of things, right? And so we kind of wanted to start off, and I want to give you the floor a little bit on what you thought about the game as a whole, what you thought about the first half, second half, the play of the offense, defense. Give it to me all, man. Let me know, what your thoughts were coming out of that big-time comeback by the Miami Hurricanes.
Well, I think, first of all, what I got out of it is I think that a lot of people, including me and some others, underestimated California. I think they're a really good football team. I mean, they're big up front. They're quick. They do a lot of good things. And I think that there was a lot of underestimating. And, it also shows that Miami's not back to where everybody thought they would be, where they could roll all over everybody like Florida A&M and schools like that. But the very fact that the last two games, and I said this in a post on somebody's Facebook today, is over the last 22 years, Miami would have lost those last two games 10 out of 10 times. And that shows a lot, as you said, a lot of character building. Obviously, from an offensive standpoint, I mean, it just shows you how dynamic Cam Ward is. And I love to heap praise on the kid Genty from Boise State because they're pushing him a lot for the Heisman. But this is not even a contest because this is a guy who is playing against elite teams over the last 2 weeks. And as I told you, Virginia Tech's not going to lose much the rest of the way either. I mean, they're a really good football team. But I just think that Miami's, finding out now that against programs that have comparable talent and, and also have, good size and good speed, that they're going to have to bring that work ethic every week. I mean, there's no doubt Louisville's going to be tough, and we know that's going to come right down the line. Even the FSU game, which will, as it's looking now, will probably be on Home Shopping Network at 9 a.m. If they put the Louisville game at noon,
that was going to be on QVC, right?
Something, but and even that's going to be one of those games where a lot of emotions are going to come out on both sides. Miami kind of owes them for the last couple of years, especially 2 years ago at home. So, there's going to be a lot of emotion. And like I said, you look at the schedule the rest of the way, and there's no easy going, Wake Forest and all these schools like that. So the one thing we're learning, and
Blue,
this is,
I want to cut you off for a second. I apologize, but I'll go even one step further, right? And I know maybe someone on this panel won't be happy about it, but go one step further, Blue, and look at the whole entire schedule already. Florida, I know Florida's a better team than they were the first game of the season. They're now 3-2, right? They're above 500. I'm not saying that they're going to beat a lot of the teams.
No.
They've got Tennessee, and they've got a gauntlet now, but now they're 3-2. Virginia Tech is now 3-2. Cal is 4-2 now. USF is right there at about 500. Now the schedule looks a little bit different than it did when even before Cal, right? When you're like, oh, they didn't play much. The records are below 500. Now you're looking at it a little bit different. You say these teams are pretty damn tough, right?
Yeah. Well,
it's one of the real quick, Blue. It's one of the traps of being this is foreign territory for us for the last 20 years, but being a good team. When you beat teams, especially you're at the midpoint of the season, they necessarily have losses now because you beat them. And so if you look at those teams and like if Florida had beat Miami, they're probably ranked right now. If Virginia Tech had beat Miami, they're probably ranked. If Cal had beat Miami, they're probably ranked. But so you beat teams, you actually make them worse. It's kind of like an irony.
Yeah.
Now they have another loss. And so you look at those records, like there's not a ranked team there.
But the last two games, could have gone either way. So I think people understand that. And you know, I mean, all these people who hate Miami, and it's so funny because here's Miami, who's been insignificant for the last 22 years, that everybody hates them. I mean, where were all the haters when they were 13-13, or they failed to go to bowl games? So it's part of the landscape. But Miami also, you know, I mean, they bring a lot of that stuff on themselves with their, you know, taunting the opposing teams' fans. But, you know, getting back to the basics of this team, what it's doing is you're getting a lot of younger players, even in big games like Virginia Tech and California, to play. And that's huge. And that just backs up the statement that I said when I'm asked about why FSU has gone south. And the reason why is they put all their eggs in the basket with their portal kids, and they really didn't recruit well. Well, that's not the same thing with Miami. Sure, you know, Barron and all the Alston and all these kids up front, I mean, are just in Barrow. I mean, they're huge. I mean, obviously Cam Ward, and now we're seeing a little bit more the versatility of Martinez. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to, against major teams, is going to go for 150, 200 yards. He's just versatile. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. You look at the difference when, you know, Fletcher's in. Fletcher's a big time back. I mean, you know, people could push everybody down our throat, but at the end of the day, he's a recruit. And you look at guys who are recruited by Miami who are starting to do extremely well. And that's the difference. So next year, yeah, you know, obviously you're going to take a drop off with the quarterback, but you're also going to be, you know, that much better to have guys like Wesley Basaint play more. And you got, you know, in key roles and, you know, kids like that on the offensive line, which I thought, you know, at times the other day, you know, I mean, but with a Cam Ward, it doesn't, you don't, the glaring weakness on the offensive line doesn't show too much because he's always going to be Houdini and get out of things. But you know what? I mean, when it was 35-10, and obviously I'd been up since 5:30 early morning. I mean, I was thinking, wow, you know, this is going to be crazy. But as I kept watching, and my eyes kept, you know, closing, I kept watching. I kept thinking to myself, wait a minute. I mean, it seems like they turned on this switch because all of a sudden they're doing everything and California's doing nothing. And I'm thinking, oh man, you know, imagine if they come back and win this. And, you know, when I think the big play of the game was that 62-yard pass play from the end zone to Restrepo, because that got them all the way down into Cal territory. And I'm thinking, because you don't convert, and you're not going to win the game. Because, I mean, the momentum, it was in Miami's favor. And then obviously the, you know, defensively, it started coming alive in the last 4 minutes and 25 seconds. You know, I mean, they're not consistent. And I think that Mario Cristobal said that yesterday, or in the press conference. And, you know, I had a chance to replay some of that press conference that they had on. And, you know, he said, we can't expect to go from, you know, a 500 program to beating everybody senseless. I mean, every game's going to be a game. These guys, you know, it's sort of like I always said when people were talking about the recruiting that this team or that team are doing. Well, all your opponents aren't sitting on their hands. They're recruiting too. You know, Cal's got kids. Virginia Tech's got kids. And we knew that coming into the year because, you know, Vish, I remember at the beginning of the year, we talked and, you know, we felt that Miami, Virginia Tech, Florida State, and Clemson would be the 4 teams to keep an eye on in the conference. And, you know, Florida State's gone south. Clemson's still playing really good football. And then here's Miami and Virginia Tech. So, you know, you can't be mind readers, and you don't know how everything's going to click. But I think everything's gone true to form. And, you know, when we sat down and I thought that they'd lose to Florida, okay, you know, so they didn't. But, you know, they could have easily lost the other night. They could have easily lost against Virginia Tech, and that's what I'm saying. I wasn't ready to anoint them as a 12-0 team because they just, you know, I'm a wait-and-see type of guy. But, you know, like I said, the greatest thing about right now is they got the week off. Because what it's going to do is going to give them a chance to focus in and try to, you know, look at what's ahead of them. And like I said, whether Louisville loses or not to this team or that team, it's about matchups. And you look at the job that Lashley's doing out at SMU. He's got kids. He's always been a good offensive mind. He's doing a real good job. He's got good coaches. And, it's not a real big surprise what they're doing. And that's what I said. I think you look at them, Syracuse, who I'm not going to even mention because they should have never beaten UNLV, but that's okay. Schools like that are really coming up. You look at North Carolina State, they're playing, fairly decent brand. Everybody in the conference is capable of beating anybody on any given day. And I think coming out of that game the other night,
Pitt and Eli Holstein.
Yeah,
they're undefeated. Pitt's undefeated.
Right. Yeah, so
hosts Cal next week. So
and here Virginia wins a big game the other day too, and that they probably shouldn't have won, but it's going to be a dogfight the rest of the way. You're already bowl eligible, which everybody for the last 5 years.
Well, it's only Miami and Indiana. That's it. Those are the two bowl eligible teams.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, go figure. Outside of us in this group, you ask the average fan around the country who would be 6-0 after 6 games. I think Miami and Indiana would probably be down a little bit further. And the thing is I'm listening to people saying, at the Cal game, overrated. And I'm thinking, then what does that make Alabama? They lost to a crappy team. I mean, Vanderbilt is not a good team.
Well, they did beat Virginia.
I don't know. I think they're better than people think. I think they're better than people give them credit for. They probably some players, man.
That was
but I think what's happened largely, Blue, and this is how they end up losing to Vanderbilt, and I think this is why Saban retired. He saw this coming. What happened at FSU was just an extreme case of what's happening everywhere, which is it's really hard to build and grow depth in-house now. And because of that, you're more susceptible to dropping games that you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't in the past. Like these games that there's more. I mean, Ole Miss lost at home to Kentucky, who's not good either. And then come out the next week. But then they come out the next week. Yeah, exactly. And then Ole Miss comes out the next week, blasts South Carolina on the road. It's like, is that even the same team? But when you can't stack those classes together and grow in-house, you're going to get those inconsistencies.
Yeah,
You've seen that everywhere.
I agree.
I mean, Georgia played one of the worst halves of football imaginable against Alabama.
And still had a chance to win.
Yeah, still had a chance to win at the end. Yeah. So, I mean, this is just, there's no one is. So I think, we're almost holding, I think we tend to hold our team up because we have this vision of what an undefeated team looks like. And we go back to our last one, which is the best team in college football history. These teams that go undefeated are flawed too. And so I think yeah, and I think in the NIL era now, like other teams can, I can't buy a full roster, but I can buy some guys and compete with you more. I think you're seeing that. That was the whole point, was to bring more parity in there, and you're seeing that there's a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
What was it? 4 of the top 11 or 5 of the top 11 losses, and not to any ranked. I think Missouri lost to A&M. I think it was ranked like 24th. I think that might have been the only ranked versus ranked. And these are just Tennessee was killing everyone, then loses to Arkansas. Just the way it's very competitive. So
it is.
Kane survived, which is what matters. Also, the interesting thing on that comeback, Blue, as you were talking through it, the defense didn't force a turnover until the last play of the game, which after they'd already completed the comeback. And also, no 3 and outs. And they somehow won that game anyway. After it was 35-10.
I think the first drive was a 3 and out, right?
No, but I mean in the comeback, it's 35-10.
Yeah, right.
The next drive, actually, Cal, after Canes get the touchdown, the 2, Cal goes down, kicks a field goal, actually. And then the next drive after that would have been a 3 and out, but Barron made the face mask. And even the last drive, remember the first play, they got like a 20-yard run. Then the stop happened.
Yeah, that's true.
And Blue, that just goes to what you're talking about, the explosiveness of this offense. Just put it in the end zone repeatedly, and didn't even, frankly, took timeouts with them.
It's the old cliche also that a lot of people say is, imagine when they put 2 good halves together, right? Imagine when they play 2 good halves instead of just one mediocre one and the next one. And it happens, right? I mean,
I think they have against Florida.
That was a Florida game, obviously, because they dominated the whole way through. But even against FAMU, they started off slow in the running game, and then they kind of got it going, and that was it. It was lights out. Same thing with Ball State, kind of slow in the running game. Like, imagine they put it all together, all at once. It's going to be scary. I know. Again, I know I said yesterday that I don't think this team is as good as a lot of people think it is right now. That doesn't mean that they can't be by the end of the year. That number 6 ranking, look, you are what your ranking says you are, bottom line, right? Like at this point. But, 6, you're there because you're undefeated. You're there because you beat a couple of good teams and some good teams have lost. Is the number 6 ranking indicative of how this team is playing right now? Maybe not so much. Doesn't mean that they're not a very good team. Doesn't mean that they're not a top 10 or a top 12 team, a playoff contender. They definitely are in my mind. But to compete with those top 4 teams, they got to do a little bit better. They've got to put some things together and clean some things up. But they can get there. They're not there yet.
This is where I disagree. So I think Texas and Ohio State have really, handled their business and not really broken. Everyone else has either lost or pulled a game out just like we did. So I think we're right there. Like, isn't Oregon 3rd now?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a couple of.
And they got
against much worse teams than we did, right? Now they're going to play Ohio State, so we'll see what's up.
And then Penn State plays USC this week,
and Penn State struggled multiple times as well. So I think we're in that same group. I think Ohio State and Texas have just whipped everyone, including Texas going to Michigan. And I think they've separated. Like if there's a 1-2, it's them, and then I think there's a big group from like 3 to 10. It's kind of meshed, and we're in that group. We're in that group right now.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment. I think there's a couple of other teams that look, that Georgia team, man. I know that they played like crap against Alabama in that first half.
They're still pretty deep, though.
Right, but hold on. But this is when I talk about, we judge our team differently than others. So yeah, they made a great comeback that came up short. We made a great comeback against a worse team and pulled it off, but they also squeaked by a bad Kentucky team. Right. So if we look at the body of work, it's not better than ours. They have not played better than us either. It's just we judge our team differently because we judge them by the 20 years of failure. I'm like, well, I see where this ends. We've been here before. And with Georgia, we've been here before is winning championships. So you look at it when they squeak out a win because that idiot Stoops punts from the plus 40-yard line instead of just getting 5 yards and winning the game. It's like Georgia's showing their championship medal. When we need to squeak past Virginia Tech, it's like, whoa, boy, you almost blew that. It's going to come back to bite you later when you do that. So it's perception. But again, we're carrying baggage. We have to get rid of it. So
right.
I understand. I'm not disagreeing with you. I understand that perspective. If you actually just rationally look at how the teams are playing.
Right.
I think by far Texas is low because they've gone and played real teams on the road and killed them.
Even with a backup quarterback.
And they had their quarterback injured. The backup came and lit people. I mean, they look. They almost
Jeremiah
look like
Smith is in the running for the Heisman.
They almost. They don't. Yeah.
As he should be.
Yeah, they're stupid.
Well, he can get to New York. Our guy's the winner. So
yeah, I agree. I am not going to disagree with that. That's why I argue with somebody today about the kid Genty, and I says I gave them a list of 11 guys who led the nation. The kid Pumphrey from San Diego State, Chuba, what's his name from Oklahoma State. All these guys that led the nation in rushing, but they never transferred it to the next level. So that doesn't always mean, and you're at Boise State, and you're not playing the biggest schedule in the world.
They played Oregon, lost. That was kind of his chance to.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that, especially Cam Ward, and he's not on national TV every week. Cam's been on the 3 of the first 6 games, so that's pretty good.
I mean,
who's your? You know what? Let's see.
Who was awake though? Last week when he did his magic. No, I will say there isn't. And this is, everyone knows I like to complain. This is one of the issues, and this is why actually West Coast schools don't like that kickoff time, even though it's only 7:30 local. Actually, Jazz and I were talking about this on Sunday morning. College football final comes on. They record that before our game is over, and they shove in a 2-second highlight in the middle of the B section of it. Yeah. Even though it was the third, because that's the way. And I finally felt what it's like to be on left out of everyone's mind on the West Coast, because that's what happens. All the stuff carries to the East Coast, so they do all their wrap up shows and all that before your game even ends.
Yeah,
and they just shove it in there. And so if he had done that with everyone watching instead of most of the country asleep, especially even if you're like, I'm gonna dig in and watch this game. Miami's a good team. I watch game day. I'm excited to see Cal play. by the time it gets to 35-10, you're turning that thing off if
Oh,
you want
yeah.
to go to
No,
sleep, right?
no
So
doubt.
I
No
think
doubt.
one AP voter dropped us to 16 because he most definitely did not check to see who won the game, which is like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
travesty. But it's all right.
Reaction.
He should take his vote away, frankly. But I mean, I don't know how many people actually stayed up and watched what Cam Ward did to pull that game out of his ass. And
But
I
that's
think
Well, they
an
that,
went back
reaction,
and
right?
they probably taped it and then went back
hopefully,
and watched
hopefully,
it. But
hopefully.
listen, like I said, on that Saturday, I get up because of the high school, stuff. I like to look at what happened around the state. And at 10 o'clock, I went to St. Thomas University against Kaiser, the number 1 and 5 teams in the country in the NAIA. Had never been to a live game, was impressed. It was a lot of good fun. They're doing a lot of good. And then I went to see Chaminade and Monarch that night. And then I got home right in time for, I thought, the kickoff, and then they delayed it, 15 minutes. So, but the only saving grace is Texas Tech and Arizona finished after Miami.
Oh, wow.
They started at 11 o'clock. That was their kickoff time. And it was, listen, you're right, though. That's why, maybe UCLA, Oregon, and USC embrace the Big Ten, because a lot of their games be at regular times.
I finally understood why they complain when they get the night kickoffs, because we love those. Those are like when we want to play. Yeah. Because the East Coasters turn their TV off. You don't get the attention. You need to grow your program.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So if you had to choose the top 3, let's go with the top 3 in the Heisman race right now. Blue, who would you choose? Who are your top 3?
Well, obviously Cam Ward. He's kind of asserted himself as much as anybody against some really good competition, a lot of adversity. Like Vish said, probably no one saw the comeback, but obviously his stats are stupid. I mean, he's put up almost 800 yards the last 2 weeks against two.
They were on Lebitard's show this morning. They were reading off. It was like 6 or 7, maybe 8 teams. He lists off all the teams where Cam Ward had more yards in the fourth quarter than they had for the entire game last weekend.
Yeah. Well,
it's just insane. He's putting up just in another dimension.
Yeah. Well, and then I'd have to go with Genty just because of the fact that, people are pushing him. And I think he's really good. And I watched him. But and the thing, he played against Cam Ward in high school in Texas.
Yeah. Wow.
And they both were not really recruited very heavily.
Right.
And and then, it's tough to go against Jeremiah Smith and, him and the kid Williams from Alabama. They're freaks of nature, just freshmen. There's a few guys, you could lump in there, but I think as time plays out, you're going to see, I think guys who've kind of eliminated themselves are Carson Beck. Even though he hasn't had a monster year, Milrose had even in the loss the other day, he still found a way to do, and it wasn't all his doing, he didn't play defense where they let up all those points. But yeah, I mean, and you look at obviously some of the top teams in the country, Ole Miss they had a couple of guys. I don't think, their quarterback, I think a lot of these guys have taken themselves out of the running, but here's somebody like, Cam Ward. I think he's pretty much, I don't think, other than the Louisville game, and I don't think Louisville's so stingy on defense that he can't do the same thing. I look the rest of the way, and there's really not a team, there that is going to really stop him. There's really not. There's not, one of those Notre Dame teams that has a really good defense. I just don't see it. And I still think that it's going to be, every game's going to be tough. And I still said that, I thought they'd lose to Louisville and Syracuse this year. And Syracuse, to me, they're okay. They're okay. And, but they're not great. And, but yeah, so he controls his own destiny. If he keeps playing like this, he'll be the only one in New York. He's and everybody likes it. And now you see guys like LeBron, and you see people like Pat, what's his name from the Chiefs, and Mahomes, and they all give him props on, and oh my God, this guy's just amazing, and I love the way he distributes the ball. Hey, you know what? And I know everybody sees Shador Sanders and he's this and that, but there's just something about Cam Ward. I mean, he may be the most effective quarterback, and I'm just talking about a year that Miami's ever had. I mean, just for a year. I mean, imagine if he's been here for 3-4 years, he'd be crazy. But yeah, it's fun to watch. And the thing that we all yelled about the last couple of years was get the ball to the tight ends. And they are now. And I know DJ's got that smile on his face.
So
and,
we got some questions in the chat, so I'm going to throw one of these to DJ. Since
Go ahead.
Yep. So DJ, why can't our defense handle misdirection in the run and pass game?
That's a good question. And I think a lot of it is – watching these games, I noticed that they're very good at collapsing the pocket in terms of just rushing the passer. I noticed side to side, tackling is a little bit difficult for this team, it seems. I mean, we had tackling issues a couple weeks ago against Virginia Tech. It seems to me like they're much better at rushing the passer and making plays, when they're straight on, but that little side type of play or the plays where, action starts to trend toward the sideline are a little bit tough. I always go to the play that Virginia Tech ran. I hate to keep referencing that game, but it made me think of it, where they had the blockers and it was almost like a little screen shuffle pass type thing, and they were able to get success out of it. So I think we have trouble tackling towards the sideline, it seems to me.
Yeah, you know what? Because I see a question here about the linebacker play, and that I think goes in what DJ just said. Miami's their tackling, they got back to what they were last year. They were arm tackling, and they weren't wrapping up, and they were like Ott was getting this, or and Mendoza, I got to give him props, man. He played a really good game. He played a good 3 quarters, but he threw the ball well, but he also had some time. I mean, that you got to credit Cal's offensive line, for doing such a good job, especially against a defensive line that's probably as good as any that we've seen. But that also, when I talked about the secondary being kind of weakish, you could see at times, they can't be on islands by themselves. They have to have help from the front seven. They really do. I mean, it's just sort of like training wheels. You're not ready to take them off yet. And that's why it's vital. And especially what Parrish said about how the linebacker play. I think that kind of, if they got any more push, and I thought Bassett played pretty well at times. Malwino is not playing the best. You're not playing as aggressive.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought he struggled a lot against Virginia Tech, and then they made him a captain again, and I was kind of confused on that.
Yeah.
And I thought he had a little bit of a rough. I mean, he's not playing terribly, but
it wasn't a terrible game this time around. He played all right this time.
No, he made plays, but I agree with Vish.
He's not living up to that where we expect him to be right now.
Yeah. Well, especially where he was last year, and I think that someone like Wes Bassett is doing. He's solid. He's not great, but he's solid, and I think that I'll bring up. I went to see the Central Northwestern game on Friday night, and I saw Ezekiel Marshall was the MVP, and he had a great game. I mean, and he got bigger, and I think he's going to come in here and certainly help, for the future. Also on the Saturday night game, I got a chance to see Dante Smith. Dante's what is Dante's last name? Dante.
Simpson.
Yeah, Dante Simpson Jr. Yeah. He's a man child. And I told this to somebody last week that's a big Kane fan. I'm not impressed. But they went and saw him, and they go, oh, geez. I says, yeah, they're double teaming him. That's why. That may not impressive, but, against, Monarch. Now, this week may be a different story because Chaminade plays St. Thomas Aquinas. First time they played in 43 years. But, so you're going to get a chance. Also, there's a lot of recruits that are still hanging in the balance, and Miami's really, that's important, because last year at this time when Miami, what were they, 4-3 or whatever after 6 games or whatever they were, there was not a lot of interest, these kids. But talking to a lot of kids, there's going to be a ton of kids at the Florida State game. I mean, just a ton of kids. And that's why you kind of hope that the game is a little bit later. You don't really want it to be so early because kids, a lot of kids want to come down like from Orlando area or from outside the, so you kind of hope it's like a 7 7 o'clock kickoff, or even like 3:45. I just don't think that they're gonna. If Miami comes in 7-0 and they're 1-6, I don't think they're gonna try to put that game in the spotlight too much.
Yeah, you're still gonna get a ton of recruits, like you mentioned. You might get a 3:30 start. Maybe you do get a 7 p.m. start, but it's gonna be like on ESPN2 or something like that, right?
Who cares?
Who cares? I don't care either way, but
let them be 7-0. That's all I say.
Before we get to our other sponsor, really quick.
Yeah, well, this is a true story. This is a true story. We're now, what's on a 1-game winning streak now after she put a hat on.
What kind of hat did you wear?
That's my influence. A baseball player, man. Jeez Louise. And
this is 2 weeks. At least we got the bye, so hopefully that.
Look,
and then
you're gonna see recruiting heating up now because there's a bye week, and towards now you're at the
they're gonna be at places.
You'll be able to see. You might see some names now start to pop up a little bit more in the next couple of weeks, as they head into again another big game against Louisville. So,
did you see DJ Williams, Vish? He was there. He actually they went to his high school. A couple of coaches the night before, De La Salle, because they were playing. So you see, that's the advantage too. You get in early, just like when teams play Miami. The Virginia Tech coaches were there last, when they played, and that's the advantage. That going to these places and having an
we have priors with DJ Williams, but no, we didn't see him. We spent quite a bit of time with Katie Meyer actually, but
oh, okay. Did you enjoy the? Did you go to any of the touristy places?
We did do some of the tourist stuff. Katie Meyer was there doing her new job, which was to wine and dine the money people. So
nice. That's good. They're good. And
there's a few more comments in the chat. So let's hit our sponsor because I'm supposed to do it in the middle of the show and I forgot. So I'll hit that sponsor and then we'll wrap up here with some talk about the bye week and answer some of the comments in the chat too.
Guess what, everyone? Football is back, and it's here to stay until February. Did you know that you can enhance your football viewing experience with Underdog Fantasy? Join over 1 million fans across 33 states that made picks on Underdog last year. My personal favorite is the higher-lower plays on my favorite NFL players on Sunday mornings after watching the Canes win on Saturday. The website is easy to use, and the plays are easy to make. I love playing CeeDee Lamb higher rushing yards and waiting for the Cowboys to run a reverse. I never got into fantasy football because I didn't want to cheer against my own team, but with Underdog Fantasy, I can support my team by making picks for higher stat lines. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code 5REASONS. That is the word 5 reasons spelled out FIVEREASONS. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code 5REASONS, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit over.
Must be 18 or over, 19 or over in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369.
All right.
Nice job, man. You just do a great job of that.
Well, it's a pre-record, so I hit a play button very successfully. That was good job of me. So there was a question Parrish had. Yeah, there's a bye week coming up, and maybe this is a good lead in. Parrish asking about there were some drop passes. Maybe that as well as anything else we think we need to work on the bye week, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean communication more than anything else is the communication on the field. I don't know if necessarily we have. Look, we missed some tackles again. We got it together, towards the second half, late in the second half. got it together. We made some plays. You saw him finally get some pressures and get to Mendoza. You saw Wes Bassane lay him out. And I felt like they had to do that a little earlier to kind of get him out of his rhythm, because then he starts to build confidence, and that's what happens, right? But I think, look, overall, you got to work on missed assignments, gap integrity. Guys on defense are starting to play a little too much hero ball as well, because they're getting confident, right? They're getting a little arrogant about how they know, oh, we got Cam Ward, we can make some mistakes, we'll be all right. I think that's my opinion, right? I think that they're all kind of playing a little too loose, as opposed to, staying in their lanes and keeping their gap integrity and the communication levels. They're playing too much. They're playing selfishly, right? You saw that with Popo when he blitzed, or he played the line and Jaden Ott got behind him. That was it. It was lights out. He played, that's terrible assignment there. He was supposed to be covering him. Now, I'm not saying that Jaden Ott might not catch the ball or whatever, but now you're in a more competitive position to make a play on him, right? So I think that's where they screwed up there. You saw the same thing with Jaden Harris a couple times. The miscommunication with him and some of the other DBs. So overall, DBs did not play bad. Like, I think it was just a couple of, those 3 big plays, right? Obviously, those 3 big plays really screwed things up. But those 3 big plays were more miscommunication than getting beat on a play or getting out talented, right? So I think that wasn't the biggest deal. Look, they're not the strongest group, and it kind of shows the deficiencies a little bit if the front 3 or the front 4 cannot get to the ball, right? But at the same time, and I think, DJ, you mentioned this last night, or I'm sorry, yesterday in the afternoon also, is they're scheming. The quarterback, the offense is scheming to get the ball out real quick. So now you can't get to the quarterback. You don't have to cover as long. But if they're scheming to get these guys open, now you got to make those open field tackles. I think, DJ, you also mentioned that they may be having an issue making some open field tackles, right? You see them getting out. They're getting out of position. They're not hitting the right angles. So those are the kind of the things that they need to clean up a little bit. And I think that is – it's coachable. It's something that they can get better at, right? Coach Guidry has to do a better job of getting his guys ready to go from the beginning, though, and understand to make those adjustments quicker than in the second quarter or whatever it is, right? Because if you hear them talk, they don't make halftime adjustments. If you're making halftime adjustments, you're screwed, right? You got to make the adjustments quicker. You have to you really have to study the film a little bit better, right? The coaches, I'm talking about the coaches and the players, of course. But look, Louisville is going to be a tough-ass game. They've got a hell of a coach who knows how to call offenses. He's probably one of the best minds in college football. You saw what they did last year to us. I don't think that they're as good a football team, but they've got some studs. They've got Ja'Cory Brooks. They've got that kid from South Florida now, Isaac Brown, another running back aside from Don Chaney. They've got some guys over there, man, that can play some football. If you don't get ready to play this team will put 35 points on you, just like Cal. Okay, now
they also have a lot of motivation for losing to them last year. So
they do. I fully expect them to come out playing a little bit different. But we'll get into Louisville at the end of the
next week.
But they're not. The good news is, this is my opinion. Again, my opinion is we played the 2 best defenses we're probably going to see all year in Virginia Tech and Cal. Cal has a nasty-ass defense. They're rated in the top 10 in the country for a reason, right? They're number 1 in turnovers with 10 interceptions. That's a really good defense. Uluave, that linebacker, had 14 tackles. Kid's a beast, right? You saw it. You saw their intensity. You saw the way they played. They came out ready to go. Again, we've also mentioned this. Vish, you mentioned this. It's obvious, right? This is everybody's Super Bowl. This is everybody's national championship. They're going to come out with a chip on the shoulder. They're fired up. Their adrenaline is going to be going. And if they start executing quick, then this is what happens, right? You're going to see these teams build momentum, and Miami's going to kind of, have to come back. And they can't do it every single time. It's just not sustainable. So you got to be able to come out firing, executing early from the get-go and put these teams away a little earlier. And then you can kind of work on some other things as you go on through the game. That's just my thoughts going into the bye week, and start recruiting and get some guys in here that can continue to build this depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just I don't think I disagree with a single thing Jazz said. Pretty impressive. I like to argue, as I said earlier, but nothing to really argue with about there. Just to throw this in there, I think this is indicative of when we're focused, we're really good defensively, and we just have too many mental lapses. Actually, Guidry called this out 2 weeks ago. I saw it on rewatching the Virginia Tech game. That's how they got into position to throw the Hail Mary in the first place.
Yeah, your final call to the parking lot.
Hold up.
Fish? Are they calling you Fish?
Hold up. I don't think so. I already landed.
They're probably going to say, get the hell out of here, Fish.
They're open till 10:45. I'm good. So he inexplicably, he was the spy on that play to prevent that exact thing from happening, allowing the quarterback to run up the field and get yards and get out of bounds. He blitzed. And it was obvious because he hesitated and he blitzed. In this case, end of the game, obviously had to go a lot further to get in the field goal range, but he spied perfectly, read the quarterback's eyes, picked the ball off.
Right.
The ability is there. It's the focus. So many, this is the second game in a row where it was a third and extremely long, like more than 10 that we gave a screen pass for 1,000,000 yards. The USF was the same thing. So there's some stuff to tighten up. But a lot of it's just you got to lock in for 60 minutes. You're not going to, as Jesse, you're not going to keep getting away with it. That feeds into what Parrish was talking about, some of the drop passes. We overcame a ton of offensive mistakes. So many 3rd and 15s, 3rd and 20s that we just convert. Last drive, it was 3rd and 20. Convert 3rd. You're not going to look. I believe in our offense. Cam Ward's the best player in the country. You're not going to keep converting 3rd and 20. You got to clean some of this up. You got to clean some of this up.
No, that's another thing, right? If you're Cam Ward, you got a lot of things to clean up. Also, I know. I mentioned this last night, but I also, come to the realization, he plays hero ball a lot. I get it. He takes a lot of risks, but the bottom line is that play that he threw across his body, that's a total dumbass play, right? He knows it. Everybody knows it. It's a stupid play. He's got to be better when he is playing hero ball. Whoever's sitting here saying that the offense, that the play calling was bad, or the offensive coordinator is not watching the same football game that a lot of people are watching. Go back and look at the tape. There was a ton of calls where there was two guys wide open, and Cam is trying to do too much with the football, right? He's got to go back to the drawing board and realize, hey, I've got to trust my players. You've got some of the best wide receivers and running backs in college football, and tight ends, DJ, and tight ends. Get them the football. Trust in them that you can dump the ball off. They're going to break tackles. They're going to get more yardage. Stop trying to hold on to the ball so much and try to make these incredible plays. You don't need to do that so much. I understand that he does it every once in a while, and that's okay. That's his game. But at the same time, he has to clean up some things also and start making some better decisions with the football. Just the bottom line, because, Dawson called a hell of a game again. The offense is working. He is drawing up plays to get guys open left and right. And Cam Ward, for the most part, finds them. But sometimes he does this stupid crap where he holds onto the ball too long and he tries to be really cute with it, right?
Yeah, and that interception was an abomination. That was
terrible,
beyond awful. That is one of the worst throws. If Tyler Van Dyke had done that, people would have been out on the field trying to hit him in the face, punch him in the face. It was that bad of a throw. Clean up the channel a bit. Shout, thanks Crawford, we appreciate it. Parrish, yes, let's not lose the bye week. And is Michael, man, I can't. Mike is just following the team around. I guess that this one's got nothing else.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong.
Perico Mike, baby. Perico Mike. I like it.
And yeah, maybe Blue can talk about this because we talked about it yesterday. But Blue X, how's he always hoping he catches everything within 10 feet of him?
Run. He's an outstanding route runner. And what he does is he decoys himself a lot too, where they figure he's not going to get the ball. And then all of a sudden he accelerates into that long one. That's what he did. I watched it again today. He came off the slot and he kind of didn't run out. And the guy his defensive player was covering him, kind of paid more attention to the quarterback, and he just jetted, and he was wide open, and Cam saw that. The other play I love is when 2 weeks in a row, he's hit Brown down the sideline. The one against Virginia Tech clicked for about 52 yards the other day. But that's something I think they're going to run every week, because if you see Brown comes out and he's wide open, I mean, they figure that because Cam Ward's really, he doesn't look at anybody. He really doesn't. He doesn't look at, that's a positive about him. I mean, he could see out the corner of his eyes, especially that play, that Arroyo scored on the touchdown that gave him the lead. If you look, he was going to run the ball. I think he was going to do a draw play. But then when that guy came off the edge and when it's in his face, he noticed that Arroyo was right there. And I'm sure they work on it, I mean, as, okay, this is the play. I'm going to do a draw play, worked earlier. And then, but if you see that I'm not going to just filter out, and that's what Arroyo did, and that's how you do it. So, no, yeah, a lot to, and even he said in the post-game interview, with although he dropped an F-bomb in there, yeah,
he dropped a lot of bombs.
But I thought the greatest thing in the world.
Let's not say the things that he said.
No, but the quarterback for Vandy, who was praising Jesus every other word, and then he dropped the 2 F-bombs. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But yeah, but even Cam said he says, I got a lot to clean up, but hey, it's a W and no one's going to care anything when you win. He said, but we know what we have to work on. And we're just, we have the bye week, which is good. And comes at a great time, right before a really, really game that a lot of people feel a little, that's maybe perhaps their last tough road game. So no Syracuse, but whatever it is. I got some good show and tell today.
Yeah, let's wrap up a couple of more comments here.
Yeah.
No, Kenny, we're so just to be clear, we said Cam Ward's the only candidate for the Heisman. He's the best player in the country. Yeah. So we're not disagreeing with you. And as Cam himself said, got to clean up some of that. As Parrish mentioned, like these types of, we did kill a drive because of this.
I don't even know if he did anything wrong, really. Like they were jogging a little bit. I'm okay with that.
No, I mean we talked about this a little bit yesterday.
The Zay Horton one was uncalled for. He kicked the guy.
The guy was standing over him, and I
know you can't kick a guy.
You gotta walk away.
Yeah.
He can't walk away. He's lying on the ground. The guy's standing on top of him. How's he going to walk away?
No, but after get up and walk away. I hear you.
Whatever.
There was an element of when there were 2 players shoving, it was always a penalty on Miami in that game.
Yeah.
Which was, but again, even that play is a game-losing play, except we won anyway. And I think that's the stuff you got to because that drive mentioned whether Jacoby's unsportsmanlike was warranted or not, it did kill a drive. That was one of the rare times where we did something like that and it actually mattered because we kept overcoming it. So even it was 4th and 1, we ran for the first down, but had an illegal shift and had to run another play and converted it again. Like you're not going to keep doing that. So there's some stuff to clean up, but I actually think the encouraging thing, and then we'll go show and tell, is there's actually a much better team in here. We're not close to maxing out the potential of this team. We can clean some stuff up. There's another gear they can hit.
And that's why I say the whole thing of I don't know if they're as good as people think they are yet. They can get there. They've got the potential to get there this year, right now.
Yeah.
But they're
it's got to be this year, though. It's got like we're kind of it's just the quarterback, man. It's got to be this year. This is the year.
Yep.
How'd you guys feel Bain played?
I think he did good.
Yeah, I thought he played well.
I think he was okay. He was not his old self. It's going to take a while to get him back there. He was fine.
I mean, he had 2 sacks.
Yeah, but he was kind of game rusty, I
think. He wasn't cutting. I don't know that he was trusting his leg there. He wasn't cutting as much as usual. He wasn't.
However, when it mattered at the end of the game, he's the one that made those plays, which was
he did.
And I'll take the 2 sacks any day. So
yeah. So I get it. Yeah, he probably he'll get his legs under him and be ready for Louisville. Vish, you want to do show and tell or what?
Well, I mean, Blue's the one with the show and tell. Unless you want to
the one with the technology, though.
By the way, just real quick,
here, and this is
5-second Fat Bear Week update. The finals is tomorrow. It's Jazz's Bear Chunk against Melissa's Bear Grazer. All right, Blue. Technology is arriving.
Okay, but the explanation in this one is this is their winning streak. They
I've seen that picture.
Yeah. That's a classic photo right there, man.
And then, as you notice, there's Mario Cristobal up here, number 72.
Yep,
right
there he is.
Darren Smith, 45. Gino Torretta, Barrow's right there.
Yep, Tiger. Is that Tiger Clark there?
Yeah, and then Coleman Bell, number 17, where my hand is.
Yep.
right there. So that's a pretty good picture to have.
That's a cool one. Yeah,
and then Lamar Thomas up top too. If he's watching, he'll get crazy that I didn't mention him. That's pretty neat, huh?
That is, yeah.
That's a good suitable framing picture.
Very cool. Very cool. I love that. Yeah, Grace is going down. Grace is going down, Mel. It's all about Chunk.
We have a my bear Grace Sleep bowed out in the first round. Let you guys.
Yeah. It's all about Chunk this year. Chunk 32, baby. Make sure you check us out on Twitter or X at 6 Ring Canes. Subscribe to 5 Reasons Canes podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever
Definitely
it is.
Get on that this week because I'm in Charlotte to cover the ACC basketball tip-off, and a lot of it's audio only. They don't let you video. And
so that you're staying there, okay?
Yeah, no, I'm not just.
I thought you had another flight to catch home or something.
No, DC I can fly. There's like 10 flights a day. That would have been easy. No, I am working, Blue.
Oh, good.
The women are Tuesday morning and the men are Thursday afternoon because they hate me and
nice.
They didn't put them on consecutive days, so I'm gonna be here for 3 days. Anyway, yeah, but
who are the players that the men are bringing up?
Matthew Cleveland, Nigel Pack.
Okay. Oh wow, Nigel! I forgot Nigel was back again.
Yeah. So those are the two.
He's the Cam McCormick of basketball.
Yeah, I was gonna say. He's been around. Well, the Cavender twins are pushing him too. So
yeah, they are too, right?
Well, they split the twins up. Haley's here. Hannah's not. It's Haley and Jasmine Roberts.
Haley's at least a scorer. So
yeah, and then it's obviously the head coaches as well. So all the breakout rooms are audio only. So again, subscribe to the 5 Reasons Canes podcast. You'll get this show. You'll get all those interviews. Anytime we do special audio content, it just goes out on that. So make sure you subscribe to that.
Sounds good.
And of course, make sure everybody stays safe during the storm.
Oh, definitely.
Central Florida, Southwest Florida, even down in on the other side of the state in Palm Beach.
And generally pay attention to your local.
Yes.
Because even though most of the storm's going to largely miss South Florida.
Yeah, we're still going to get wind and rain.
Outer bands could also cause localized flooding, which is very dangerous. So,
and not only that,
be alert.
This thing's a monster right now, 180 miles an hour, and it's going to diminish, but not a whole lot. And I talked to a lot of people in the Tampa area who, for a couple of the storms, stayed. They're gone, because they expect record storm surge. Because even though the winds, and this I'm sounding like the guy from the Weather Channel, but Jimmy Cantori Jr. here.
Jimmy Cantori.
but he said that even though the winds diminish, you're still going to get that storm surge from 180 miles an hour. Yeah. So it could be 15, 16 feet, and there's no coming through that at all. So.
That would crush them, man. So let's prayers up for that area, and everybody please stay safe.
Good stuff.
Indoors. Don't go to Wynwood or downtown. And if you live there, then start moving out of there. Anyways, we'll see you guys soon. Make sure you keep it locked and follow Vish and Mel, the Buckets crew, as they cover men's and women's basketball for the Canes this week. So ACC, what is it? The ACC.
It's the tip-off. They do the same thing for football in the summer. They call it the ACC kickoff.
Kickoff.
They're very creative over here. How come we don't get a first pitch or something for baseball or?
Yeah, good luck with that. Actually, I think they do something, but
I don't think there's a big press gathering though.
I think it's on Zoom call or something.
Yeah, no, I think so.
It's more like it. Although JD, did you see JD was in California as well? He's over in Calvert.
No, he was out there. They did a bunch. As Blue said, it is a talent and donor rich area. So they did a bunch. They brought everyone out there and did a bunch of glad handing.
Nice.
Very cool.
It's Gino's area too. The Torretta family.
Yes. Toretta's from there.
Right by.
All right, my peoples. I hope everybody has a good night. Stay safe again, and we'll see you guys next week.
The 6 Ring Canes Show. Yeah. The 6 Ring Kane Show. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.